Hey friends, it's Lady Ambrosia. I hope you all are doing well. I just got back from my work's little holiday shindig party, and we all were wearing like ugly sweaters. And so, of course, I'm wearing my Krampus sweater. It says Merry Krampus, and it has a little Krampus devil on there. So I think that's pretty cool, and it's super comfortable. So, in the spirit of the holiday season and Yule, I was kind of thinking about how, a lot of us are practicing in gift exchanges and white elephants. And I was actually talking to a friend about this last night. But I know for me, one of my favorite things to receive is something handmade or something that was bought because they thought of me when they saw the gift. And I kind of wanted just to like share some ideas about things that, that maybe you could do as well for the witches in your life around this time of year. I know also for me, I'm meeting up with my circle and we're doing like a witchy gift exchange. And how we're doing that is we decided that there would be a $15 limit. Um, and we're just going to get gifts that are uh, witchy and magical related within that kind of niche. And then we're all going to put the gifts in just a plain brown bag. And each bag is going to get a number. And then we're going to pull a number from like a mason jar, So that way it'll kind of be incorporating, the fates or the Norns, um, kind of into our Yule ritual slash gift exchange. Um, and that way it's kind of random. So it's kind of like a Secret Santa, but it's like a magical version of Secret Santa. So I wanted to show you a couple things that I personally made for this, which I'm really excited about. The first one is this, which this was just made from terracotta clay. It's just air dried clay, and you can actually pick this stuff up. I know that Michael sells it. And yeah, I just molded it, with my own hands. And then I used my alticle, my altar pentacle. Okay. I used my altar pentacle and just stamped a star into it. And it still kind of is reminiscent of a pentacle because it's in the shape of a circle. And then I used a stick of incense and poked holes on each point of the star. That way you can stick incense in there and burn it. And then I used one of my incense cones and put it here in the middle. So this would be a great thing to use for just burning incense or maybe as a platform to make offerings on. As well as you could put a crystal here in the middle and put incense around it. You could charge it or consecrate it. And I just think it's really cute because it's something just homemade. And I mean, who's going to be upset about getting another incense burner, especially when something's, handmade. So I made that. And then I also made, also using terracotta clay, a wand. And this is just terracotta clay. That's all this is. I just rolled it essentially into the shape of a wand. And then I actually took a piece of sea glass and pushed it there into the top. And then down the front, we have Amazonite and some quartz going down. And then I painted the handle or the base of the wand here and wrapped some twine and tied a duck feather to it. And then I also just fastened this just with some twine and some hemp, something so that way it could hang. So that way if they choose to use this as a wand, they totally can. And I think that's special too because once again, it's handmade by someone who, you have a relationship with, you have a connection with, especially in a magical sense. And or, if they don't want to use it as a wand, they can definitely also use this as just decoration, or they could use this as some sort of charm or ward if they would like. But this was super easy. I had the duck feathers, the terracotta clay, the twine, and the crystal chips and the sea glass just sitting around. So I just decided to kind of birth it and put it together. I'm tongue twisted today, y'all. And yeah, So I think that's a cute little gift as well. And then another thing that I got, and this is also something that I made. So far, all this stuff is just supplies that I had here in my witchy room. So far, I have spent $0 on this. And I think that they're great gifts. This is another thing that I put together. So I have this little kind of cinnamon colored pouch, and within it are 4 spell balls. So every year, usually around the fall equinox or Mabon, I make a yearly supply. And I put them in this jar here. And I can definitely do a video on this as well. There's a few videos on YouTube already. But this is what they look like. Here, I'll get one out. And they smell so amazing. So basically, spell balls. Some people use cookie cutters and do shapes like they're spell stars or spell moons. Pretty much any shape you can think of, you can do. And all it is basically is applesauce, just plain regular applesauce, organic if you can, and cinnamon, powdered cinnamon. And then you basically combine those 2 ingredients, and you want it to essentially be the consistency of like bread dough, like if you were baking. So you want it to be pretty thick and pliable, and yeah, almost like Play-Doh. And then some people will roll it all the way out and use a cookie cutter and make little stamps. I just like to take like little 1-inch pieces and roll them up into balls, just like this. And then also by doing that, I feel like it adds that extra layer of, intention when you're crafting these spell balls. Now, what these are used for is essentially a spell in a ball. So you would get a charcoal disc that you could put in your cauldron or a burner or wherever, and you literally just light that, and then your whole spell is within this little ball. Because cinnamon is an ingredient that adds heat and passion and amplifies your intention. Cinnamon is also used in a variety of other magics as well, like prosperity magics, protection magics. It's a pretty kind of catch-all sort of herb and or spice. In my opinion, though, intention is key. And so adding that heat and that fire, which is cinnamon's elemental correspondence, it just ignites your wish or your intention. Sometimes these are also called wishing stars or wishing balls, because that's kind of what it is. You put your intention into it and then you burn it. And let me tell you, it smells so good. It smells like apples and cinnamon, so you can't go wrong. I think that these are a great thing to have in your apothecary. I think these are a great thing to give to friends, and you can make a really big batch, and it doesn't have to be expensive. I'm pretty sure I got the big thing of applesauce. This was back around the fall equinox. I got like a huge thing of applesauce from Aldi's for like maybe $3, and then I had the cinnamon already. And you will use a lot of cinnamon, but trust me, it's worth it because it smells so good. You could totally also throw these into bonfires. You could do really whatever you'd want to with them. But I think that this made a really cute, really, cheap but thoughtful and practical gift for your favorite witch. So those 3 things are things that I made for the gift exchange. Now, I was out thrifting the other day because y'all know I do love to thrift, okay? And I always kind of keep my eye out, for things that maybe I might want, or I might know that someone else wants, or someone else needs, or sometimes I just have stuff that I see that just like kind of calls out to me and just speaks to me. And it sounds bad, but I might not have a reason right then and there of why I should be getting that, but I know that it's going to serve a purpose. So something I got a little while ago while I was thrifting, and it's kind of like kitschy, but I think it's super cute. So let me get it here. So I got this at the thrift store a while back, not too long after Samhain, and I saw this. And guys, I'm not typically super into the whole, Halloween witch vibe, but I just thought this was so cute. And she's got a little bat and a kitty cat and a pumpkin and a besom. And her sign there says best witches. And so I thought this would be something else like really cute to add into the Yule gift exchange along with the other items as well. And yeah, I thought it was cute that it said best witches and it's a witch with her little familiar and her besom. And so that's going in along with that. And then the last thing is just a little Yule bell, which this is actually an ornament from our tree. So yeah, those are the gifts that I will be contributing to my circle's little gift exchange. Um, I'm excited for it to be spending Yule with, my sisters and, to be able to share the experience. Um, there's been some years past where, and if you guys, I don't know, if you guys have been following my channel, um, I used to be in a coven, and so I used to have kind of that social experience. And then also there's the whole family aspect as well, because we did celebrate Yule also growing up. But there's been also some years where I've, celebrated by myself, and that's okay too. And I appreciate those times too. But it's definitely nice to be able to meet up with your tribe or your sisters or, you know, family or even just friends, even if it's not necessarily like a witchy gathering. It's just so lovely to be able to be with friends and family around this time of year. And I feel very blessed that not only am I getting to celebrate with my family, but I'm also getting to celebrate with my witchy sisters. And, we celebrate Christmas and Yule. We celebrate both separately, but we do celebrate both. So, and I think it'll be fun too because we're going to be kind of letting the fates decide which gift goes to who, which I think is fun and a little bit different than your regular white elephant or Secret Santa. And it's kind of incorporating that element of witchiness to kind of a, I guess, secular tradition of Christmas and bringing that into our Yule festivities. Another really fun thing that we'll be doing this year is we all decided that we are going to pick an archetype of the divine feminine who represents or embodies, the season of winter or darkness or cold or snow or is related to Yule. And so I think it'll be really cool because we're going to be sharing, the divine feminines that each one of us has picked, and we're also bringing a representation for that, and that will be going on the altar table. And I decided this year I was going to do Calig from the Irish or Celtic pantheon, Irish Celtic, yeah. And she is always an aspect of the divine feminine that I've had a lot of respect for and that I've found really interesting. And, she's also known as like the Hag of Winter or the blue-faced hag. And she's usually depicted with, snowy white hair, blue skin, and like red eyes and red teeth. And she's, a bit frightening. And in a lot of her mythology, she kind of protects the wilderness and is kind of the embodiment of, the wild frozen forests. And, it was said that she put animals, to sleep, the hibernating animals, and that she tended the deer and, would nurse the babies of the wilderness essentially and take care of them and look after them. And she was kind of a warning to, man going out and the dark of night and to a frozen forest. It was like, oh, kind of be careful or Kalik, and that's kind of how a lot of her mythologies are kind of written as more of like a warning that the Hag of Winter, she'll come for you. And I also consider her kind of a dark mother in a way, like a dark mother archetype and even a dark crone archetype as well. And another really funny thing in some of her mythologies is that she's known to kind of fight off winter. She carries a staff that when she slams it onto the ground, it freezes the land and, creates um, ice, sheets of ice and snow, and she fights off spring. And so she's a really fun archetype of the divine feminine who I feel like really embodies the season of winter and could be related to Yule as well as snow and darkness. So I'll be sharing her with my circle sisters, and I can't wait to hear who they've picked. And then we're all bringing a representation as well. And my representation for Kalik is actually going to be antlers. I actually have a client at work who I had posted, on Facebook that if anyone was hunting, this year, not just like for fun, but like, and not like as trophy killing, but if anyone was like hunting this year and they had some antlers that they would like to discard, like I'd be more than happy to receive those. And so a client actually gave me a pair of antlers, and I connect that to Kalik because of her kind of nursing and tending to the deer during this time of year and taking care of them and looking out for them and protecting them from hunters. Because also in a lot of her mythology, it talks about kind of hunters having mishaps or unfortunate events taking place during hunting during this time of year. And that Kalik would kind of influence those things to happen to these hunters who would come after these animals. And also, um, it's important to me to get certain supplies ethically. And I know that this deer, was killed with respect, and all parts of the animal were used. And taking these antlers, which antlers, the animal doesn't even necessarily have to die to get antlers because they shed them. Most breeds of deer actually shed them naturally. The males and females do at different times of the year. And I also feel like it's honoring that, um, the spirit of the animal as well by bringing it into sacred space and honoring the animal as well. So I'm excited to share and to hear about, who everyone has picked. As well as that, we'll be doing a Yule ritual. And we're also going to be doing a crowning ceremony. And some of you may or may not be familiar with this. It's popular in a lot of coven structures, but essentially what it is there's a crown of light and a crown of darkness. And you guys know how I feel about kind of those buzzwords, light and dark, or good or bad, or, um, you know, white and black, because I feel like life is not that. Life is gray and life is everything in between. I think most things in life are not that, one or the other. But the crown of light refers to the light half of the year, and the crown of darkness refers to the dark half of the year. So, in doing so, what happens is, people's names go into the pile, and this is also allowing the Norns and the Fates and destiny to kind of take place and choose who should be wearing this crown during this, for this period. So the person who gets crowned by light will be essentially kind of leading and organizing and planning circle meetups and rituals. And I would say the circle is more of like a council where we all have a really equal part in what goes on. But of course, you have some people who, are more naturally inclined to fulfill other roles, like keeping track of things or funding, the supplies or bringing the supplies or organizing or creating a schedule or things of that nature. So the crown of light, whoever gets crowned the queen of light, essentially, will be playing that role for the light half of the year. So pretty much starting from now until like summer solstice, and then the whoever gets the queen of darkness or the crown of darkness will be also fulfilling that role from summer solstice to Yule. And then we may, repeat and do a new crowning. And I'm really excited for that too, because I really think that each of those crowns will come with their own lessons and will teach whoever is wearing those crowns some important lessons and values to both halves of the year. And it'll also aid in, responsibility and organizing and planning. Because I feel like, we are all high priests or high priestesses, in our own right. And I feel like in our dynamic, because we are more like a council than like a hierarchy, I think that's important because it allows for there to be an equal distribution of responsibility um, and power, so to speak. So, yeah, I'm really excited for our Yule Circle ritual. And I just wanted to share, I know I've kind of gone on a tangent here, but I just kind of wanted to share some of the things that I've put in together because I know that this time of year can be kind of stressful for a lot of people and it can be financially straining on some people. And, you don't have to go out and spend a whole bunch of money. I think it's much more important to make sure that your gifts have intention and thought than necessarily a fancy price tag. So I hope all of you guys, have a great rest of your night, and I will see you next time. Blessings to you. Bye, guys.